All right, 3, 2, 1.
All right, dude, I'm ready to roll.
Ooh, let's fucking go. Oh yeah.
It's like in a week when truly almost nothing happened, we can still find an hour of content to talk about.
We know we're gonna bounce. If there's one thing you can count on with GameStop is that it's going to bounce.
I'm pretty sure they sent a squirrel to spy on me because it knows I hold GameStop.
Thanks everyone for checking out the show. I'm Sean Fitzy.
I'm Paulie.
I'm Echo.
And I'm Chubb.
And this is the Echo Chamber. The market was down big this week, but GME held its own, so we're going to talk about that. We're heading into a historically volatile period of time for GameStop as well in March. We got some more thumps this week, and then we also have some daylight savings to talk about. So we got a lot to go over. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good. Been another busy week for me, but I'm excited to get into it.
I can't stand daylight savings. I don't know. I feel like I'm not alone in this, but just the up and down of it all. I mean, I like the fact that the sun does not set until later in the day for me now, but it's just I don't like that they make me go through this every year, guys. Like it's just can we make up our mind? Can we just stay consistent? I'm not a farmer.
It's the transition of it all, right?
Yeah,
like
and then you gotta hear the jokes at work, Paulie, for like the next week of like, well, you know, it's really an 8 a.m. meeting. Like, no, Bob, it's not. Okay, it's 9 a.m.
Yeah,
just grow up.
Sorry. As a restaurant manager, and I'm older now, so I've been through it. I've been managing since before the clocks changed on their own. This day right here was the number one day for your employees to be late to work or to be sick. So their excuse is gone, but they still managed today. Like pretty much all of them. It's pretty funny. But yeah, we made it. Daylight savings is this one right here is the rough for the restaurant world.
Yeah. And I used to run my family's transportation business, and it essentially ran almost around the clock. Like we had a 1 to 2 hour period at night where everything was basically asleep, but we would have like a 2 a.m. route and a 3 a.m. route that would kick off the day. And so daylight saving time really threw a wrench into things. And so we had to change the way that we operated on the days that the clock changed, either whether it was backward or forward, because it would affect those 2 or 3 a.m. routes. So
I bet, dude. You got to remember to Fitzy sounds like he never adjusts his clock. He's one of those people that he just lets it, he just waits and eventually kind of, has equilibrium. But no, I mean, I always try to like reset the clocks as quickly as I can because eventually it happens to you that one time. It happened to me today. I was driving and I thought it was like 12 and I was like, man, I am like, why am I so hungry? And then my wife was like, no, it's actually 1, but it really is 12. So it's confusing. But anyway, it was technically 1. I had a late lunch. So there was that.
Yeah. And like, it would affect the rest of the routes for the day too. But like the 2 a.m. route on a day like today just like can't even exist, because if you tried to operate it, you'd never make it anywhere on time because the clock moves forward an hour at 2.
Yeah,
so you're already starting an hour behind if you even try to operate it. So we would just
that's like some Inception Leo stuff going on there.
They disappear. They disappear on the route. Echo, how are you doing?
I'm good. Just hanging out like usual. The market was kind of crappy this week. Not just GameStop, just market wide in general. Crypto, everything's kind of selling off right now, and so that's always kind of fun. Good opportunity to get outside, touch some grass, and just kind of rebalance things. But otherwise, I've been good. Hit up a garage sale yesterday, picked up some Pokemon cards. So
nice. At a garage sale,
expanding my collection, which I didn't have started before. So I guess starting my collection.
I was talking to my kids last night about it, that I think I want to start collecting Pokemon cards. I think I'd rather collect those than the currency cards, if I'm going to be honest. I think they might be a little. I don't know. I don't know the cost or how any of it works, but I feel like if I'm going to collect some cards, that might be the way I go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
no,
that would be fun.
I was actually out looking for sports cards. Pokemon cards just happened to be there. But I was over at family's house the other day and told my brother-in-law about the PSA app, and he immediately ran to his closet, pulled out a box of old baseball cards, kind of like we've been watching Paulie do in the Discord for the
Hmm.
Yeah.
last few weeks. And
Yeah.
he was probably up all night just taking pictures of cards. So, seeing him do that, I was like, man, I could hit up some garage sales and see what's out there. You never know. So it's
It's
been
funny
good.
you say that, Echo. I was just thinking like you should like at the garage sales, as you like get the Pokemon cards for probably like $1 or $2 a card. After you've already finalized the purchase, you should be like, by the way, did you know that GameStop offers PSA grading? But like after you've already secured the cards so that they can't take them back, you should that's a good idea. Sneaky good idea there.
I can see myself doing that and then scurrying off, kind of like Zoidberg in Futurama, like
Exactly.
chuckling like a madman as
Right,
I do it.
like you just got away with something. Like, yeah, I just got your card for
Exactly.
$1. I'm gonna go sell for $100. But hey, by the way, you could do this too next time.
Insert Zoidberg chuckling away here.
Yeah,
Fitzy might be able to do that. He's got the audio tricks.
Nice, you could also get an ink pouch to help you escape your enemies. That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard, you imbecile.
I need to figure out who Zoidberg is, but I think I don't. Maybe I
Might be
should.
showing your age a little bit there, Fitzy. It's all right.
Yeah, yeah. I'll have to look that one up. Chuck, I saw your toes, bro. They're
What do you
looking
think?
nice and they're looking good, dude. I definitely wouldn't show mine on. That's a bold move. So
I'm
that's great.
well, I mean, dude, you keep your DMs open. I show my toes.
Yeah.
I'm starting Only Toes 2025 unofficial plug there, but it's just toes, and then maybe I'll do like an Only Lawns later on because I just love grass photos. But yeah, dude, I'm sure you were going with like how's the weekend been? It was so
Yeah.
I actually had the opportunity to grab some dinner and drinks with our boy Mozart and his lovely
Yeah.
fiance. So that was lovely on Friday. We hit the town. He kept me up till like 1 a.m. Pre clocks moving forward, which is crazy because I am like an old person, man. Like I am usually in bed by like 9 p.m. ideally 10 p.m. We looked at it was one of those nights where like sometimes you look down and you like can't believe how late it is because the conversations have been flowing, the drinks have been flowing, and the times are flowing. So it was a good weekend though. It was great to see him and hang out with them.
That's awesome. Mozart is really cool. We've been talking over DMs a bit. I'm trying to get my Bitcoin knowledge up.
He's the right guy for it, that's for sure.
Yeah, he knows the shit. So how much GameStop did you guys talk last night? Was it a
Well,
lot of GameStop?
so the funny part is that my wife's more of a trader than I am, honestly. So she's been day trading Tesla. I know we're a GameStop podcast, so don't hold that against her. But she's been day trading Tesla,
Crushing it.
crushing it. And Mozart is very prevalent in like the MSTR space and in the Bitcoin space. So he trades MSTR a lot. So at one point, we switched seats. So I was sitting next to his fiance, and Mozart was sitting next to my wife. And I look over, and they were just nerding out on charts, and it was just so great to see because it's like again, it was like 11:45 at night on a Friday night, and they're just looking at like MSTR charts with all the lines that like I've seen Paulie has with his like 10,000 lines of this and that on there. So it was too funny to see.
That's
Love
cool.
crayons. It's great.
Exactly, a lot of crayons.
Yeah. Nice. That's fun. I guess I need some friends to go out with out here. I haven't been out to a dinner with like a couple in years. My wife's gonna look at me now. We're gonna have to do something. Paulie, how's basketball? You had some games this weekend?
Yeah, so let's see. We had senior day at home earlier this week, and so we won that game, and then we had a road game at Illinois, which we lost. So, we split them this week. So, 50-50. But now we head into the postseason, so the Big Ten tournament will be this week. So we'll look forward to that. And then after that, it's March Madness. So that is my favorite time of year. So
I know. Are we gonna? You're gonna. That's your time to shine too.
right.
I saw some of your engagement from last year. We're gonna have to
well,
probably.
a lot of that came from the fact that I was actually at a lot of those games. So we'll see what we're able to actually do. So Purdue had a lot of success last year. Obviously, we went all the way to the national championship game last year, and we were fortunate enough to go to 31 of their 38 games. So I think my engagement had a lot to do with the fact that we were physically present at most of those games. But we'll
Yeah.
see what I'm able to do this year. But my attention is obviously a little bit divided between Purdue and GameStop and high performance computing. So my timeline looks like I have ADD now. And it's funny. My wife and I were talking about that the other day, and she was like, someone asked me the other day, they're like, your husband doesn't post about basketball as much anymore. And I was like, yeah, yes, I do. It's just that it's not the only thing I talk about anymore. So it's just, it's kind of funny. Like, the way the algorithm works, it doesn't serve up everything you talk about to people that have different interests, And so I think it's just kind of funny how that works now.
Yeah, I just end up with like the same 5 or 6 people, and they're I'm glad I see them all. I see Em a lot. I see you. I see Chuck. Echo doesn't post that much, but I see him sometimes. Whelp. I see Whelp out there with his meme contests. Throw a plug out for that. I appreciate those meme contests that Whelp does. They're a lot of fun.
They're entertaining.
Yeah, they are entertaining. So I appreciate that, and I don't know. I think I came in third on this last one, so
Nice.
see, maybe it's good. Maybe you can use it to buy some Pokemon cards, or maybe we'll find something fun to do with it on the show. I'm trying to find the gentleman. Oh, Flip Mode. Yeah, Flip Mode is one. So thank you, Flip Mode. Yeah, he gave 2 of those gift cards out. So we can kind of move on into the chart.
Can I show a chart? Can I analyze a chart? I feel like it can analyze a chart. It's not a science. Can I look at the chart a little bit? Check out that chart though, huh? Can I do charts real quick? Can I do charts? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that line right there. Can I look at the chart a little bit? I mean, no, we used to do charts. We used to do charts back in the day. I think it can be fun. Let me just get to the chart real quick. Wait, can I draw? Hold on. Let me see if I remember how to do this. Oh, I do, right there. All right, look at that. Look at this. It's like jumping up and jumping down. That chart was just bullish.
All right, so overall for the week, it was not great. 24 flat. We ended up, that's where we finished. So that was about 50 cents short of max pain. Your prediction didn't come through this time, Chuck.
I know. I mean, I'm like 69 for 70, which is still pretty solid. But so I think the hedge funds, I think that they know that I'm doing these posts, so now they're messing with me. So I might have to like use a little bit of reverse psychology moving forward. I might have to think about how I formulate my tweets. And also, I'm pretty sure they sent a squirrel to spy on me, because I've had this squirrel that's just been like going at every single window in my house trying to look at me because it knows I hold GameStop. So anyway, that's a whole nother sidebar conspiracy theory. But that squirrel's nuts. See what I did there?
Those hedgies will stop at nothing.
Nothing, dude. They're crazy.
Yeah, fucking. I saw that picture, by the way. It looks
Dude,
like it.
it's actually hysterical. Like, dude, the homie like will not stop climbing on all of my windows, and he's just teabagging me with his nuts in my face as he's looking at me.
That's good. That's funny. Yeah, I like that squirrel though.
Yeah,
Maybe
cool.
he's
chill.
maybe he's an opto, so we're not sure. So all right, yeah, volume was terribly low. We ended up, I think it was down 4.5% for the week, off of 19.5 million traded. So that's the second lowest we've seen since April, right before April 15th, right before DFE came back. So I honestly, that's encouraging. I'd like to see that low volume,
I
especially.
mean, that equates to like literally like what, like less than 4 million volume a day. That is like, I think the daily volume, despite that it's been trending in a lower direction, is still probably 10 million or more. So like, think about that. Like each day last week had roughly 4 million or less volume. That is low as can be.
Yeah, especially as what we'd been seeing all the way up until like, Greg's birthday, or 0109, whatever you want to say. But since right around then, we were pumping volume, and it's all gone down. But that's also when we've been doing our selling off. So I'm okay with that. Like, I'd rather be on falling volume every single time if we're gonna if we're gonna sell off. So how's it looking to you, Paulie?
Yeah, so it's something that I didn't notice until we were just talking about it now, but obviously we had a big swing both up and down on Friday. And I knew that we had a doji on the day, but did you notice that we had the exact same open and close price?
No, I did not.
Yeah, so there's zero body on that doji.
That is a doji.
Yeah. So that is a long-legged doji candle right there with absolutely zero body.
And sorry, for
And
those like
yeah.
unfamiliar like me, like what is a doji? Like what are you even talking
So yeah, a doji is essentially that is a candlestick that has a really long wick on it, one direction or the other sometimes, or in this case, in both directions.
about? Okay.
And so sometimes they might be referred to as a hammer or a gravestone.
Ooh. And
Just
this
kind
is
of
not the same
yeah,
as a god candle. You know, we've heard that before. Like, oh, did anyone
right,
see that god candle? Are these
right.
all synonymous, or is a god candle different than a doji?
Yeah, so a god candle is like a candle with a very large body and not necessarily a large wick. And so
Got it.
so on this one there is zero body because the open and close at the same price. And and so like with a doji you might have like a very small body at the bottom with a very high wick on the top, or a very long wick on the bottom and a very small body on the top. In this case, it's called a long-legged doji because you've got a long wick going in both directions and then a very small body, or in this case, it's actually no body. And like trying to scroll back through the chart looking for other dojis where we have the equivalent, open and close. And there are very few where you have the same open and close. Like usually it's within a cent or two. But if you just scroll back on your own chart and look for that particular pattern, take a look at what comes after. And so some examples that I can find just off the bat are December 4th. There were, that's not quite the exact same thing. The open and close were 4 cents apart, and that wasn't exactly after the same kind of price action because it was a green day and then a red day. But then the next day was a almost a 6% increase. But we all know that December 5th is an anomaly, so that's not a very fair comparison, right? So let's
Yeah.
let's keep let's keep looking, right? So then you go back a little bit further. October 29th. Well, that's not a very fair comparison either, right? That was cat day. But in fairness, we didn't get the SEC filing until after the close. But the open and close were 2 cents apart on that day, and the doji on that one. Now, a doji usually represents a trend reversal, and so, but in this particular case, there was a god candle on the 28th, and then there was a long-legged wick doji on the 29th, and then we had a gap up the next day with another essentially long-legged wick that would trended more towards a like a gravestone doji because the body of that was closer to the bottom. But if you go back a little bit further, there are two other examples of this exact same type of doji where on both October 9th and on October 24th, where either the day after or 2 or 3 days after, you have that particular doji coming on the tail end of downward trends in price. That doji marked a reversal in price. And the point I'm getting at here is that dojis are what they really are telling you is that there is indecision in price. And so
Yeah.
when those happen on the tail end of a downtrend, it normally is an indicator that the market is having a hard time making up its mind about whether that downtrend should continue. And so there's some consolidation happening there, and it could continue downward if the market, ends up deciding that sentiment is how it still feels. But if there's any sort of shift in that sentiment, or if there's some sort of a technical indicator that gets tagged, whatever the case may be, then you can often see some sort of a sharp reversal. And so that's just kind of one thing that stands out to me on the chart, is that we had a doji, and we're on the end of this, essentially falling wedge since late December, early January. And I don't know, it's encouraging to me, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I don't expect immediate results. But like Fizzy said at the beginning of the show, we are heading into a historically volatile period for GameStop. Now, personally, I'm not in any short-dated options. I I
I
have
might
been
be.
burned.
I might be.
Yeah. And by the end of the week, I might be, but but right now, I'm not. Personally, I'm in June options and a little bit of April for myself, but it is a historically volatile period.
Oh
So
yeah.
I would not be surprised at all to see something happen with that, especially because, like we talked about last week with Max Payne being sort of pegged at a certain value for several weeks in a row as we head into that historically volatile period. It's a little too calm, right?
Yeah, it's a little too calm. Yeah, like Friday's doji, we went all the way down and we tested the headband pretty much, and that was the second time of the week. 2341 is the headband. That's DFE's cost basis. It's held that line. If you just go back to May, I find it interesting that that line is basically what we bounced off of every time when Kitty was buying his calls. So pretty much every single call, yeah, every single call he purchased in May, those 20s was under $23.41. So, if you're just kind of wondering what Kitty likes to do or what price, about $3 in the money is what he was shooting for when he was getting those 20s. Who knows? Maybe everyone's trying to figure out what the hell Kitty's waiting on. Uh, we'll
Well,
see.
I,
But
I think Fitzy, what's interesting, sorry, quickly, is that so the price is nearing Kitty's, purchase area, right? Like that $23 and change you just mentioned. A lot of other folks are talking about, I don't know, Paulie, the technical term for it, but maybe like the book value or like the fair market value for GameStop.
Sure.
And you can calculate that. And I want to say it's between $10 and $13 purely based on the amount of cash on hand that the company has. And again, I view this as a long-term investor. We were talking briefly about, if you're in short dated calls, you might have some volatility in the nearby horizon. But like as a long-term investor, I view this as like a pretty simple, thought process, right? There's in this moment roughly $13 to the downside, where it should not go lower than that, purely based on the fact that they have 4.6 billion in cash based on the fair market value of the stock. The upside is where I'm far more interested. So like to me, anywhere, GameStop is currently, even further to the downside, that should be an accumulation zone for a lot of people who are bullish on the stock, because it's just a ticking time bomb in the sense of when they announce any strategy or anything they're doing or further partnership, etc., the stock will only go higher. So like your downside risk relative to your upside, it just seems like there's not many better trades you could be making, in my opinion.
Yeah,
oh,
absolutely. And the book value too only takes into account essentially their cash, and I think their essentially marketable assets. And so really that assumes that their operational value of the business holds no value. And so the book value is the assumption that the rest of the business goes to zero, and that's what's left. So
Got it.
really, at least that's I think the easiest way for me to understand it. And so I think the book value is a really good way to conceptualize the fact that GameStop is trading, as far as a multiple of cash on hand, probably a better bargain right now than, I think it's safe to say, any stock in the S&P 500.
I'm pretty sure, Paulie, that Kevin Malone did a post that I actually looked at, like, all of the other stocks comparably, and like GameStop was number one in terms of how much cash on hand it had relative to like market cap, I want to say
Yeah.
something along those lines.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah,
definitely,
nice.
definitely mirrors exactly what you're saying there.
Yeah. So like if you're just looking for pure cash on hand relative to market cap valuation, and you're looking for a good place to park cash because you want to put it in a company that you think might be a good steward of money, and that might be a safe haven in an otherwise volatile market, GameStop sure looks to me like it's probably a safer bet than a lot of S&P 500 companies right now, just based
Oh
on
yeah.
what we've seen the last month or so. And yes, we're down $10 since January, but that's also a fairly normal retracement on the move that we've made since September. So,
Oh yeah.
I see that more like the hammer cocking back on a gun than
Or like a slingshot.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
not
like that.
a yeah, that's not a pullback in the sense of like things are in trouble. That's more like a pullback in some profit was taken up at the top and now people are accumulating again.
Which
Yeah, and
And
probably
it's
could be the
yeah,
same exact as Tesla. You could make the exact same argument, right? Where
absolutely.
Tesla tested all-time highs after Trump was after we found out that Trump had won the election. What has Tesla done, right? It absolutely ripped. I remember days after days, I'd be like, "Oh my God, it's up another 8%. It's up another 13%." I want to say it went well
Mhm.
over 400, and then, like as you were just saying, it had a correction, it had a sell-off. But similar to the GameStop right now, I think Tesla, and I don't mean to make this about Tesla, but it's in very
Right.
much like an accumulation zone where I think a lot of people, are thinking, okay, now it's time to go long Tesla. This is the exact same, thought process you should be having for GameStop, because your downside is, to Paulie's point, like that's based on pure book value. The reality is it's probably higher than the book value, because the assumption is that it's zero, as you said, operationally, but that's really not the reality of the situation. So this, to reiterate, is to me is an accumulation zone, and I think those who are long GameStop will be rewarded. If you want to continue shorting it, do that at your oown discretion.
yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of Tesla, we're over the last 3 weeks, Tesla was down 28.31% to GameStop's 10.5%.
Mhm.
The market overall is down 5.5% over those same 3 weeks. So overall, GameStop has been holding up pretty well, and we're getting ready to go into a pretty volatile time. So, I want to talk a little bit about Mario Day and how GameStop has performed when it comes to earnings. But did you have anything else with the chart, Paulie?
Only thing I'll add, just since we brought up Tesla, is that, just remember that Tesla was sort of like the OG grandfather stock of the meme stocks, and
Yeah,
they are, as of right now, still up. Let's see, they are 262 right now ish. So they're still up
yeah,
1600% from 2019. So
yeah. They're
which
crushing.
is yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're
So
doing well. So in
just
terms of
something to keep in mind if you're looking for parallels between GameStop and Tesla.
and Tesla did that long squeeze that might be
Hmm.
what RC is trying to recreate as well. So yeah,
I really
uh,
hope he's learning from Elon.
yeah, some of the things, some of
Right.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As far as how to increase your company's market cap and
yeah,
squeeze
oh
the
yeah,
shorts.
oh yeah. Maybe buy Bitcoin too. We'll
That'd be
see with
great.
Bitcoin. So yeah, tomorrow is so right now. It is 8:41. GameStop is trading at $23.45. Kitty did not tweet. I don't know. Maybe we're waiting for a while. Maybe we're waiting until St. Patty's Day. But tomorrow,
I think it's more likely that we will get an SEC filing before we get a tweet from him, but that's just my personal opinion.
yeah, that'd be perfectly okay by me. I think I could.
Because I think a tweet would front run his own plans.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm kind of interested what you think that. Well, anyways, what do you mean by that?
Well, if he's sitting under the 5% threshold right now, and he still needs to accumulate more, if he were to post anything and create some volatility in the stock, then that
Uh,
would be counterproductive to his goals of accumulating more.
yeah. Okay, I hear you. Unless he buys a bunch of calls. Even then, though,
Well,
he'd probably want those first, right? Yeah, and then tweet about it.
yeah, yeah,
That's
and
probably,
if he did accumulate a bunch of calls, I think we would know about it before he tweets. So
yeah, that would be the move. I mean,
yeah,
and again, not saying he's manipulating the market. He does not write that algo. He's not making
right.
that algo buy millions and millions of shares because he hit enter on a post of a
Hmm.
stupid, fucking meme. That's
Right.
not on him. Take advantage of it. If you got, they need to fix their algo. That's the problem. It's not his fault. So,
Right.
tomorrow's Mario Day, and we'll explain it. It's March 10th. It's called Mario Day because if you write MAR, and then 10, it looks like Mario. But it's kind of become a holiday, I guess, for Nintendo and Super Mario Brother fans. And we're talking about Doji candles. GameStop has one of the fattest Doji candles I've ever seen on Mario Day. It's 100% candle in 2021 that day. So basically from February 24th in 2021 through to, well, I mean, shit, all of March. But so from
We're going
February
to 2021 March.
2021,
Okay.
yeah. So February
Taking a
24th
look.
to March 10th, GameStop ran 679%. And on March 10th, it topped at like 80 to right around $87. And then it had a flash crash all the way down to $42 and then ran all the way
Yeah.
back
Wow.
back up to 66 where it closed. Yeah, it was wild. It was wild. And I remember that was one of the biggest buy the dip kind of things. Everyone was celebrating at the end. So that's a pretty massive day in our history. And then just in terms of tinfoil and Kitty, smack in the middle of his timeline, his emoji timeline, is a set of emojis from Kelly Durkin, who used to be the head of, I want to say, I forget exactly her role with GameStop, but she worked with GameStop back then in 21 and 2022. She posted those
I'll pull
emojis,
it up for you.
yeah, on Mario Day. I believe it was in 2022, and those made it into Kitty's emoji timeline. So whatever. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Most of those emojis are all things that happened in the past. Everyone's kind of believed that once you get to the flag and the color change, that's what will happen whenever he dropped the dog and the eyes, all that stuff. So it could have just been him using different emojis from different periods in the past, but that stands out to me. It's from Kelly, so that's
Yeah,
pretty.
she was the senior vice president of customer service at GameStop, and before that, she had been the vice president of customer service at Chewy,
Yeah,
and before that was director of customer service at Chewy. And since then, she's her entire career has basically been customer experience. So that's her forte.
yeah, with Ryan Cohen basically too. I don't know where she is now.
Hmm. She
Um,
is now at a company called Carewell, but
oh,
same role, vice president of customer experience.
well, shout out Kelly. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tag her. So what's up, Kelly?
yeah.
We'll see.
Dude, she definitely listens. She's
Oh
definitely
yeah.
a fan. Yeah,
Oh yeah, definitely
she'll
for
love the
sure.
tag.
Yeah, I would think so. So 2021 was wild. GameStop sold off after Mario Day. But we have our big earnings. Our Q4 earnings is always in March. We tend to, typically GameStop will have its earnings in the first 10 days of the month. Most of the time, except for in March, and he tends to move the earnings dates back in the month. And a lot of the time, I feel like he's doing it strategically. Um, One of GameStop's hot periods of time, as long as you hear me talk on this podcast, you're gonna hear me say OPEC settlement week a lot. That's my favorite time. That's when we run, and he tends to put earnings on OPEC settlement week, and a lot of time on like Tuesday and Wednesday, which are the big settlement days. Well, they still are, but so us not getting our earnings data already at this point pretty much means that it will be settlement week. They usually give about 14 calendar days leeway from when they announce earnings. So yeah, we're looking like towards the end of March again, and just going down the chart, some huge runs for GameStop in March, either after earnings. 2021, he dropped earnings on OPEC settlement Tuesday, and then GameStop ran 84% over the next 2 days. 2022 was a massive, like everything he did in 2022 was pretty awesome. He put earnings on OPEC's week in 2022. That was Thursday. I say I'm talking about Ryan Cohen, just in case anyone's wondering. He put it on the Thursday prior to OPEC's, but then he bought shares on that Monday and then announced it immediately. I think it was actually that Tuesday. Announced it immediately, which was the 22nd, which was OPEC's settlement Tuesday, and GameStop ran. So, that March, GameStop ran 38% off the back of, not a great earnings. It was 2022. We were starting to come around. And then 2023, the same thing. He put earnings on OPEC's settlement Tuesday, and we got a fat 66 million share candle, and GameStop ran 60%. And then sad 2024 March. That one, we still got a 20% run, but that was probably the worst stretch of time I can maybe remember. Who knows? We're kind of matching that same energy as we had in 2024 at this time, even down to the low volume. So I could see them trying to do that similarly. So yeah, I don't know. I just want to put some thought out there. We could be seeing some more of this shit for the next week or two. OPEC's isn't next week, but it is a week after, and OPEC's week is never very fun for GameStop. So
The only thing I would add there, Fitzy, is that I feel like, and this is not rooted in any data, this is more just a gut feeling, that whenever GameStop earnings are coming up, it does feel like they either drop the price considerably, sometimes it pumps into earnings, then dumps, but it feels to me like when they think that earnings may be good, which I think we're all thinking that earnings for GameStop will be good, it feels like it dumps so that even when earnings are good and it has, let's say a 20% move, it's still lower than the price really should be because they've been slowly stepping it down on low volume for the weeks leading up to it. I'm not saying that's going to happen this time around, but I'm always like a little bit, I don't know. I have this like conspiracy theory that, okay, of course they're dropping the price of GameStop, down into like the low, 20s, so that when they crush earnings, it'll rip up to like 28 or something. But the reality is the stock should be trading much higher than that. They've just spent the last, 2 to 3 weeks or a month like shorting it down on low volume. Those are my only thoughts to add there.
yeah, that's how they do us. For sure. And they're giving themselves a room. We do have that gap down at $20.53. So I could see that being the target. But we're the echo chamber. We're Jimmy Bull. We don't call out downside
Long
targets.
term, dude. I'm long
Yeah.
term.
Yeah.
Real long term.
We know we're gonna bounce. If there's one thing you can count on with GameStop is that it's going to bounce. Yeah. How about you, Paulie? Anything about March of past
Yeah, I
years?
mean, I see a lot of the same things that you do. There are periodic, seasonality features to it, and I think if you're just willing to play the long game and wait out the storm, and you have patience and you're zen, then you know, I'm zen. I'm not worried. Like I said, I'm not in any short dated options, and if they do want to do anything monumentally stupid, like short this thing down below $20 at any point, then I don't know where I'm going to find more liquidity, but I will find more liquidity.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
but as we look back at other years at the same time frame. A lot of it is highly dependent on earnings and whether they beat expectations or not. But the period leading up to earnings, I mean, if you just look at the structure from mid to late December to now and into the earnings period, just it's that same shape. Get sort of a double top in December and then the long walk down. And if if I can see that, then I can be pretty dang certain that someone as smart as Keith Gill can see it.
Yeah, and I was just looking at
And
some of his
yeah,
videos, and this is he knows this chart very well. And I'm gonna like I
yeah,
was looking at just his last two live streams, pretty interesting things. But you know, he knows the tops and he knows the bottoms, and I think he knows how to play them. We were talking about that. IV's, you know, speaking of earnings coming up, just a heads up, IV's creeping up. We're at 84 now. That's just, you know, be careful. It'll be up to 110 before we know about it, and there will be a rug waiting. So just, you know, keep an eye on IV. It's slowly creeping up. That's how they do it. It's just like, you know, slowly sell us off, bump IV up slowly as we go. You know, they're borrowing a lot of shares. XRT is still on reg show from what I know. We'll see tomorrow if it comes off. Came off on a Monday last time too, so that'd be sick. I would be fired up if XRT comes off reg show. But you know, they're using their other other avenues, and you know, you follow Reese politics if you want to keep up with borrow rate and all of that. But I think they borrowed like 600,000 shares on Friday morning. Bobby in the Discord was saying that's the most of 2025. So you know, 600,000, we've all been around. That's not shit, really. Like, we're not saying that's crazy that they borrowed 600,000, but it is the most of the year. So that's interesting. They're making, maybe they're feeling a little pressure. We'll see. The rate's at 0.25 though, so they're not feeling that pressure.
Mm.
Well, see, but that's how it was in 2021 all the way till March 2022. The rate stayed down under
But
one.
again, those numbers they flip so quickly, right?
So
Like when
quick. Yep.
things get dire, suddenly it's, you know, 0.25 to borrow jumps to 0.6, jumps to 0.8, jumps to 1, you know, 1 and change, so on and so forth. And then you'll see the reciprocating rebate just tanks down. So like there's like right now in many ways they're incentivizing these institutions to lend out the shares, excuse me. But when that flip occurs, they're very much saying like, lend these out at your own discretion, and this may actually burn you if you do this.
Oh yeah, and if you want to see me doubly excited, have XRT come off reg show and have GameStop's rate moving up, because if we can catch like 2 or 3 days of the rate moving up, like I was gonna say March 2022, you're right, Chuck. It went from I think like 0.5 to 20 to like 120, and you
I
know
love
that.
that.
Yeah, it was quick, and GameStop ran with it too.
And my favorite are the people who consistently say like, stop looking at that.
Yeah.
It's not important. Don't worry. Like, why do you think they're saying that? It's because they don't want you to stare at it every single day, because you'll notice on the day where it does start to fluctuate in our favor, they don't want you paying attention to it. So they're telling you, oh, it doesn't matter, Chuck. Like, look at how low that rate is. But it's like, do you guys not understand that things change, right? Like, everything isn't static, right? The
Yeah,
market's
not at all.
dynamic.
Yeah, and that's why we watch it all, is because
That's why we got eyes on it.
yep, and we we got a lot of eyes on it. So, all right, yeah, it's been quiet. I mean, there's been no tweets. RC was not active, so that tinfoil might not have worked out there, Paulie. He went down, but he might not have came back up with the 741s, because we didn't get any retweets or activity, I don't think. No,
actually, if I remember right, there was some activity. I've got to go back. He deleted the repost, didn't he?
oh yeah, he did. So maybe I don't know when that happened though. I'm sure there's a message though, because I remember someone saying
Yeah,
it. We
yeah.
could
I
probably.
I
remember. I
want to
remember
say it was
someone
definitely a few
noticing
days
it.
ago. It was definitely at least like 4 or 5 days ago, would be my guess. But
It
another
it may
thing
have
that people
been
are,
around Monday or Tuesday.
yeah, another thing that folks are noticing on X, and I noticed this as well. I didn't make a tweet about it, but For many, if you go to Roaring Kitty's profile
Yeah.
and you look at his posts, it actually does not show any of his posts except the pinned tweet, which was from like back in 2020 or 2021. It was like a series of tweets he did. It was like the 12th of the tweets he did. But the interesting part there is that if you click replies, all of his tweets are in replies. And then if you kind of do a refresh, then his tweets are all listed in the post. But again, I've never seen another account on X that has this going on where it's like if you
Yeah.
go to Elon Musk, right? All of his posts are there. If you go to my profile, all my posts are there. You don't have to do, go into my replies, refresh any of that stuff. So I continue to find it interesting that we find these weird glitches, these weird anomalies, these things that aren't happening anywhere else except for accounts that are tagged and related to GameStop. And again, I know we're the echo chamber. I know we love the tin, but that's weird to me. Like, why is
Yeah.
that happening? Could somebody from X explain that to us? Because it doesn't make any sense, and I'm not seeing it anywhere else.
Yeah, so just quickly what Chuck's talking about, and it seems like it's an Android specific thing. You're a blue text bubble guy though, right, Chuck?
Yeah, man, I have an iPhone, so
Yeah, okay.
definitely
No, I was
happened
just
with me.
it was just okay, so like there's a couple glitches. I think it was Finance a lot, who's been talking about GameStop a lot. I don't know if he always does. Maybe it's because
He likes to talk about it when he's trying to pump his numbers a little bit.
yeah, that's how they do, right? That's how they do. Anyways, they were
Proceed
saying
with
it.
caution.
Yeah, exactly. They were saying it was completely gone for them. Like they couldn't see it anywhere. There was no
Which
tweet.
which I agree with, by the way. It really was gone. Like if you were to just go to his profile at one point, and this isn't an Android specific thing because I accessed this on my iPhone. I
This
went
was
to his
yesterday?
profile. I can't remember when I did it. It could have been a few days ago.
Okay.
But something was happening where if you it again, I'm usually on my iPhone. I went to his profile and literally all of his posts were gone. If you hit the post part of the segmentation of X profile, all it had was this pinned tweet. Nothing else was there. It went to like an ad. But then when you went into the replies, they were all listed there. And then when you after hitting replies, you went back to post, suddenly they all appeared. But like again, I've never seen an account where like the posts vanish like that. So like I get why people are posting it because they're like, what the heck is going on? Like I don't see any of his tweets. I started clicking around and then they repopulated, but like it's just weird. And like why is it happening? And it would actually be good if we could get an answer from Max.
Yeah. Elon. I'll tag Elon too.
Yeah. You're buddies with him. Get him in there.
Yeah.
Open your DMs up to Elon.
I mean, we know some people that know Elon. Mary Tiles is out there. She's a enthusiast. Find out for us, Mary.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and then there's the one glitch that is gone for me now, which was you could scroll down on his main to about the one where everyone shoots each other. What you say? Anyways, I won't sing it, but that was a Saturday Night Live skit.
That
That
was
one.
such a good skit with Andy
Yeah,
Samberg. Oh
yeah,
my god,
it's one of my
it's so
favorites.
excellent.
Yeah.
It's actually poking fun at like Degrassi and the OC and every other show
Oh,
that's
yeah.
always used that song, but it's excellent anyway.
Yeah, so it would only go down there, and then I would have to switch over, like you were saying, to I think replies. So that just became a habit for me now. So as soon as I go to his page, which is kind of a lot, it's crazy. But anyways, yeah, I switch to replies and go down. But now I don't have to. I got them all on just the regular. So that's gone for me completely. I have no glitches.
Right. So when
people think it.
you click replies after, it like fixes this weird glitch, right? So like I haven't seen it since I saw it that one time a few days ago, but like I feel like if a random person listening right now has not visited Roaring Kitty's profile in weeks or days or whatever it may be, I would wager that if they go to his profile, it will appear as though he has no tweets posted there. And again, like that is super sus to me. I don't know what that means, but like if they're trying to, in certain ways, dissuade future interest into the GameStop and what's going on by making it seem like none of his tweets are there, that is definitely a red flag, and that is something that I think should be answered.
Oh yeah, and that won't work. That'll just make us more hyped up. All of a sudden, oh, his tweets are gone. Like
For
that'll be a
sure.
fucking celebration. All right. So like I said, yeah, we don't have very much in terms of Twitter and
Well,
tinfoil for the week. Go ahead.
I've got dates for you. So
Okay, go for it. That's I was
so
getting
it seems Ryan Cohn deleted the repost on March 4th. So that's actually 4 trading days
Oh yeah.
after when he had posted it originally. So
All
far
right.
far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned, the 741 tinfoil is intact. So
Still on.
to recap, we have the January 22nd Futurama 12-year wait video plus 12 trading days, which is 7 plus 4 plus 1 trading days from so that gets you to February 7th. Then you get the Michael Saylor picture with Ryan Cohen. From there, that's after midnight on the 8th. That plus 7 trading days takes you to February 19th. After midnight, he follows Bitcoin Magazine on the 20th. The 20th plus 4 calendar days is the 24th. He follows Bitcoin that evening. The 24th plus 1 is the 25th. We get the letter received post. So then we get a new count. The 25th plus 1 on the 26th, we get the remember when post. Then plus 4 trading days, we get to the 4th. Then he deletes the repost. So depending on how you want to count from there, you could go 7 calendar days or 7 trading days, I suppose. But I just want to point out that 420 minus 109, since this count seems to be about deleting things, is 311.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna do
And that's 7 calendar days
nice. Okay.
from
All right.
the 4th.
All right. So we're still on. Maybe we can fudge it to make it Mario Day. I don't know. Tomorrow,
Well,
right? I don't know. But
I still think that something meaningful is happening with regard to Mario Day, but it may not be this, right? I think there are multiple timelines going on here that are relevant, and the Kansas City Shuffle may be in play here. There are lots of things going on. Mario Day itself may be a red herring. Who knows?
yeah.
But I still think that there are relevant things that point to other days in the week as having significance. We've got some dates coming up that could potentially be relevant to the old Credit Suisse swaps. I think, yeah, and I think that in order for those to matter, then and it also remembers on whether those swaps were rolled at some point or whether they're still on their original swaps. But if they were rolled and price is already above where they were then those shorts are already in trouble. If they were never rolled and price is still below where they were taken out originally, then they're not really in trouble. But if it gets back above there, then they're going to be in trouble. So there's a lot of different ways to look at that. But if they expire worthless, then they're all sitting fat and happy. But if they don't expire worthless, then things could get extremely volatile around the swap expiration. So, and as you look back on mid March over the last several years, I think that the swaps have a lot to do with that. So
Yes,
it's just
I
it's
agree.
something. And I think a lot of people would agree with that. I think there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that we're not privy to, but we get to peek behind the curtain a little bit, right? And so that's something to keep an eye on. But we're not the only ones who see it, obviously. And so
Yeah.
I'm really interested to see where all of that goes. But I think there's an enormous confluence of time-based tin that just points to this period of time as having some sort of significance. Now, what exactly it means, I think, remains to be seen. We could all sit and debate until the cows come home on exactly what it means, but I do think that it's going to be significant.
Yeah, so I don't know. We're speaking of time. We're
Yeah.
running a little short, even though we didn't have a lot going on. We still always seem to find plenty to talk about. But it is daylight savings, and I know you had a little bit of tin. Do you think you can knock it out pretty quickly, Paulie? Like
Sure.
your daylight savings tinfoil, because I think it's pretty good. And time and clocks are very they're everywhere in Kitty's memes. Like the word time
Yes.
is everywhere, and clocks are a big part of a couple of his memes. So go ahead.
Yeah, and so I do think that it is more about time than it is about, how much, or what the price is necessarily. And it's funny too, because Kitty has this meme. I don't always concern myself with the why or the when, but I ask how
It's a good
much.
one.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
it
good
is a
one.
really good one. Yeah, but so I got an email on a Friday, just reminding me that daylight saving time begins on Sunday, and then it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, oh my gosh, daylight saving time, you know, it's not this 6-month period. It's a much shorter period. And so I went back and checked dates, and daylight saving time ended on November 3rd, and that's when we went backwards. And daylight saving time obviously began today, and that's when we go forwards again. And so November 3rd was obviously the weekend after National Cat Day and the zero share Chewy 13G filing from Keith Gill, reversing or going backwards on his position in that stock. And so that just made me wonder, I am curious if that is indicative in any way of his plan for going forwards in any way on his plans with GameStop. So, I'm mindful of his use of Coldplay in
Yeah.
one meme where he used the music video from The Scientist. He altered it a little bit, but he used the video footage from The Scientist, and he used the music from Twisted Logic. Now, the video that he used from The Scientist, that music video was actually made to look like everything was already going in reverse. And so he
Huh.
actually altered the video so that some of the footage is made to look like it's going forwards during the parts of the Twisted Logic song that are talking about going forwards. And so what he did was he actually reversed the music video to make it look like it's going forwards. And so he sort of played a reverse card
Yeah.
on the video during certain parts of the song, but he made it look so seamless, right? But to someone who's not familiar with the music video, it looks like he altered the parts of the video where they're going in reverse, but that's actually the original content. And so it's sort of an interesting twist there. And just one additional thing that I want to note on that. Now, I don't think that these dates necessarily matter, but The Scientist was released uh, as part of the album A Rush of Blood to the Head on August 26, 2002.
Hmm.
And then it was later released as a single on November 11th that same year. But Twisted Logic was released on June 6th, 2005 on the album X and Y.
Huh.
Yeah. And then
That's
Clocks, another Coldplay song, was released on March 17th, 2003 as a single.
Oh, and we can't even March 17th. That's if I'm picking a day, that's the one I'm targeting. That's
Yeah.
that's St.
Yeah.
Patty's Day.
So I think there's just some really interesting Coldplay in there with
Yeah.
just kind of getting some fun with numbers and dates, and you know
And that one's at the almost, well, the beginning or the end of the meme movie, depending on how you look at it. It's what, the third one, right? It goes E.T. and then the Zen Master and then that one.
And so you just ran.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have that order right, but
I will
yeah,
double check here. Yeah, it is very close. Yeah, it's the third one. Yeah.
yeah.
It is
So
ET Zen Master, and then that one. So yeah, you got it right.
we've been, that's kind of been one of the indicators that we should watch the meme movie in reverse, plus how Twitter plays the movies. There's been a couple other, I guess,
Yeah.
reverse hints, but who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like it's
and then one
official.
other thing. Yeah, and then one other thing that someone had sort of asked as we had this out on X on Friday, someone was like, "Well, I don't know, the backward and forward repeat in the twice song. So does that mean we have to wait another year, 2026?" And I was like, "Well, I'm pretty sure he ruled that out in his last live stream because he said 3 years isn't too long. 5 years, you may as well get into the pet rock business." And I hadn't realized
Yeah.
that the pet rock, that usage in the live stream was a deliberate reference to the Jurassic Park episode of Futurama. Because
Yeah.
someone replied to that. It was Matadorks. They replied with a screenshot from that episode where they're outside protesting with a sign that says "Give back my pet rock" with a picture of Seymour. And I was just like, oh my gosh, wow! I hadn't made that connection. So I'm even more convinced now that he made that reference all the way back in June, very deliberately.
Yeah.
Long before he used the Futurama meme in January.
I will say the pet rock was pretty successful. I did a little like looking into it. It did pretty good for just being a freaking
Yeah.
rock in a box.
Yeah,
And
as a
it
Fed, right?
yeah, and it captured. We still, I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, whatever. It is
Yeah,
interesting that it's all kind of like he does that shit, like ties
yeah,
things
yeah. But
together.
I think my interpretation of it was that was his way of saying that for people who are trying to be impatient with Ryan Cohen and the transformation that he is bringing about to GameStop, that his point was 3 years, that's not too long. 5 years, okay. 5 years, 10 years, okay, maybe you've got a point. But that was also his way of saying that there is a window here where if you shoot the gap perfectly, Seymour doesn't turn into a fossil. And the ending of that episode, may not be the same, right? He doesn't end up waiting for 12 years, and what is essentially one of the saddest episodes ever of Futurama, maybe the ending is not quite the same.
Yeah, because it's time travel and all that crazy
Right.
shit. So, all right, well, good. Thank you, Paulie. I appreciate that. We've needed some
Sure.
tin. So yeah, I mean, we don't have no dates, right?
Happy
But
to oblige.
yeah, no dates. But I'm personally feeling pretty good about March 17th as something. Who knows what we'll
I
get?
love a good story.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mario Day tomorrow. Let's see. I think that's probably it. I want to say, what's up, Curious Cat, a new member of the Discord. They sent me a DM last week. They've been interacting with me, so that was pretty cool. And then also Phil Gitman, same thing. He'd been interacting with me for a little while on X and commenting, and like I say, my DMs are open, and so they hit me up and they wanted to get added to the Discord. So glad you guys are part of the community. Just in case anyone knows, it is a private GME Bull Discord. We're not open for money. We're not like a day trading community. We're an echo chamber, and we talk bullish shit about GameStop. So let's see. I think that's pretty much it. C Romeo sent me a DM too, said they listen to the show. I don't know. We get all kinds of cool feedback. I'm just trying to share it with you guys too. So I don't know, Chuck, you got anything else?
No, I think we did a good job, taking a relatively quote unquote boring week and hopefully turning it into discussion that you guys all find interesting. I mean, again, we can talk about GameStop till we're blue in the face. Some weeks it's easier than others, but I think we're all bullish on GameStop. I think it's getting to the point where I think we're on the precipice of, I think, some exciting days ahead. I think we're just not quite there yet, but when they do come, we'll look back on this and go, man, I mean, at least for me anyway, I always think, man, I wish I was just buying more. I wish I was dollar cost averaging more. And I feel like that's just time and time again seems to be the case.
Yeah, I remember I was panicking in December thinking we were about to go and I didn't have enough. And now we got another 3 months to try to add more to the pile. So all right. Echo, do you got anything else?
No, I'm good. I think you guys covered it. Just touch on what Paulie said earlier. Times like this are a good time to just kind of stay zen, take a step back. People get lost in the day to day so much, and time goes by a lot faster than people think. A year ago we were what, like $15. We're still up 52% for the year, even though we're down year to date. And it's like, just take a step back, relax a little bit, and don't let it get to you.
Yeah, and yeah, maybe I'll add that soundbite of "up a little bit, down a little bit" by Kitty. It is what it is. But if you have a conviction in the company, which we all do, we know it's gonna work out. So, yeah, I appreciate everyone for checking out the show. For Paulie, Echo, and Chuck, I'm Sean, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Thanks. There you go. Oh, hey, we just got a tweet from the Sultan.
Oh, you just jacked my
You,
tit.
dude, you got me so excited. I was like, if you casually say we got a tweet from Kitty, like, I might actually like just drop off this podcast.
All the crooked hedge funds meet, all the big dogs on Wall Street. The SEC gets on the line. Stop the buying, we'll say we're blind. When the brokers froze, the game did stop, but retail rose up to the top to make a stand and hold the line with diamond hands. Beat them blind. The price did drop, they yelled, please sell. We held our shares through the depths of hell. Up and down to hell and back. Us diamond hands, we never cracked. Through the storm, our spirits swell. Against the suits, we did rebel. In the fray, we found our track. Solidarity, our counterattack.
And that's fair too. But again, I think because of the uniqueness of the situation, I think generally in this type of case, being quiet, working on stuff behind the scenes, and thinking about what you're going to do, it can be could be a good approach. That's not the end all be all, right? We'll see where it goes from there, but it's a good starting point. And I personally don't think 3 years is too long in this case. 5 years, 10 years, all right. Like if we all wait in 5 years, 10 years, and it's like, all right, we're gonna be going into the pet rock business. Come on, reserve the right to change your mind, just like I do. That's how you should approach this. But in this case, right, the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. And it seems like people are quick to be like, oh, well, they haven't announced anything. The legacy business is struggling. Therefore, it's over. You know what I mean? I think that's just kind of silly, just because I think it could be, it's just not proof of anything. Now, again, they start selling some pet rocks, all right, okay, let's revisit this. But right now, there's some uncertainty about it. And it becomes a bet on the management. And you'll see that this is a thing in financial markets. It's unusual that it's a public company, but if you're dealing with like a venture capital opportunity or a startup company, this is often how it works, where you may have an idea or you might have a management team that you believe on, and that tends to be what you'll focus on. And do they seem like they have the right skill set to pull it off? That's the focus. I mean, that's what I mean. This is not unusual in financial markets generally. What might be unusual is that this is a public company, right? In that you have non-institutional investors. You have non-institutional investors who are like making the case for it. That's highly unusual, but it's not unusual in financial markets. It's a little bit different this time around, and so it's just an ongoing argument, discussion, and you won't really. No one knows for sure. I mean, especially me, right? You don't follow